VidIQ.
VidIQ.com. The link is down below.
Full-time YouTuber and quit my job.
Is it even worth filling out a video description these days?
Browser now is analyzing the video.
Simply because of this tool.
Now, I can only grow this quickly with the help of VidIQ.
Kind of like learning to play chess while everyone else is still figuring out noughts and crosses.
Should you use VidIQ? Personally, I do.
I just need to rant about this, and I'm surprised at just how many people still use VidIQ, given how much worse it has gotten in the single year I have tried it. And I am worried at just how many smaller creators out there might be getting swayed into using it, because I genuinely feel like its tools aren't just bad, but genuinely hurt those who use it regularly. For some context, VidIQ brands itself as a search engine optimization tool to help get the little guys off the ground and into the big leagues with lots of views. By helping them out with keywords, titles, and descriptions, having since branched out to bigger things like giving you the ideas themselves, to an AI assistant to answer your questions, to AI-generated thumbnails, to generating the entire video script for you. I have used VidIQ since starting the channel. Before a lot of its AI integration, I mean, it saw some, but it wasn't nearly as pushy as nowadays. As a newbie creator, I got its extension checklist to remind me of basic algorithm things I should be doing, like end cards, tags, and other things, as well as inform me on if my title was good or bad, while I tried to learn my way around what titles should be. However, over the full year I have used it, I've gone from going to their website and watching their videos every day, to once a week, to very rarely, and more often than not, laughing at how bad its results and recommendations have gotten, or getting angry that people are genuinely paying money for this or using it in replacement of parts of their creative process. Just like many other companies, they have pushed AI more and more in ways that just feel more and more like a punch to the face, given their original advertising as being a tool for creators. For VidIQ, it's very much a teach a man to fish and you'll feed him for life, give a man a fish and you'll feed him for a day kind of system, where it relies on creators that don't know any better to blindly trust its rather shoddy systems instead of learning how to do the process themselves, because if they learn how to do that, then they'll notice how badly it's doing and won't fork over that cash later down the line. And so I just feel like this video is important enough to make, even if it isn't one of my usual content kind of things. And with the amount of people still praising it and the amount of YouTubers, especially smaller scale ones, still using it, I just want to create some kind of video to not just talk about it as a year-long free user, but prove just how bad and even harmful of a tool it is, so YouTubers in the same spot I was a year ago hopefully don't use it. So without further ado, here's why you shouldn't use VidIQ. Seeing as this video is by its very nature very opinionated, I wanted to try and remove that aspect as much as possible. So I thought the best way of showing what's wrong with VidIQ is by just showing you. So I'll be doing a lot of tests in this video to directly compare it. And to start us off, I think I'll start with one of the main things I've been pushing for the past few months: the AI coach. VidIQ's AI coach is basically their version of ChatGPT, which is apparently trained to tell you what the best title suggestions are. You can ask it to help you come up with keywords, and you can ask it various content creation questions. Something you may notice right away is that on the screen there are two options: basic and advanced. Now the advanced tool is one of the things they removed later on, but back when I was first using VidIQ, you got like 3 tokens every month to use on the advanced coach, which would apparently take your channel data and give you personalized advice. From my own experience, I never noticed any difference between the two other than it being able to reference specific videos you made, so I'll just be focusing on the basic coach that everybody has access to. You only get 500 characters, but for most uses, this is more than enough to ask most questions or give most requests, though this makes context difficult to fit in, especially when you're trying to explain something the AI may not know, like an indie game or a series of Mimi Cat videos. I mostly use this feature to brainstorm better ways of writing my titles whenever I was stuck on a good way of writing it, especially when the checklist extension I mentioned before would give me a low rating on something that I thought was relatively good. So I asked VidIQ to generate me some video title ideas for my Poppy Playtime theory about Ollie all the way back when Chapter 3 came out. I picked this topic specifically to give it a fair chance of knowing what I am talking about. Let's see what it generated. That sounds like an intriguing theory. Here are some title ideas for your video on Puppy Playtime and the character Ollie. Number 1, is Ollie the security system? Unraveling Puppy Playtime's biggest mystery. The truth about Ollie, Puppy Playtime's hidden security system? Ollie exposed, the secret role of the security system in Puppy Playtime. Puppy Playtime theory. Is Ollie more than just a toy? Unlocking the mystery. Is Ollie the facility's security system? Ollie, the overlooked security system in Puppy Playtime? Puppy Playtime theory. The shocking truth behind Ollie's identity. Could Ollie be the key to Puppy Playtime's security secrets? Feel free to mix and match elements from these titles to create something that resonates with your style. Do any of these stand out to you? Now these are okay-ish. You may notice that most of them use a colon, and almost all of them are very boisterous and extreme, while simultaneously being extraordinarily vague and generic. In fact, several of these are unintentionally implying completely different theories, which could lead to less people clicking on it if they think I'm just rehashing what they've already heard of. But that's to be expected, right? I mean, it's an AI after all. Anyways, I decided to copy and paste the exact same response to ChatGPT. And not only did it give far more ideas, VidIQ gave 8 while ChatGPT gave 15, but ChatGPT also appeared to give far better responses. There were still some that were near identical to what VidIQ's were, such as who is Ollie really, a shocking Puppy Playtime theory. There were several that are ones that just feel less generic and accurately depict the video's topic without feeling clickbaity or over the top. Titles that feel like I'd actually click on them in the wild. Is Ollie protecting us or the facility? Puppy Playtime theory. Is Ollie the true overlord of Playtime Co? The AI behind the scenes. Is Ollie controlling Playtime Co? Of course, some of these have minor flaws to them, but they're all easily tweakable, whereas VidIQ's feel more inherently off. In fact, even VidIQ themselves agree with me, because when I plug in the titles that VidIQ themselves recommended, nearly half of them were in the orange category, below 80 points on its checklists AI, which is meant to help correct titles that it thinks won't do well in the algorithm. However, funnily enough, the title I did end up going with was I Know Who Ollie Is and No It's Not the Prototype, something I made myself with entirely my own judgment, and despite VidIQ warning me that it wasn't a good idea with a scathingly low 58 out of 100, it became my most popular video at the time, and to this day is one of my most popular theory videos of all time. It also says something similar about my Pochi Science video as well, which became my most successful video on the channel as a whole, which goes to show that the AI can, in many cases, try to course correct you from a good title into a mediocre one.
Anyway, how much should people trust Reliable VidIQ title generator with videos? Should we go full throttle using them if we haven't already? The title generator is great, but just like most things that use AI, it's a great starting point. Sometimes it gets really good and you're like, wow, I just want to use that, and you totally can. Starting at a base is like, if you have a title you're like, I think this is a good title, and then you hit our button, you're probably going to find a better title structure through that, and then maybe you just add your little part on top of it. And
it's not the answer.
If you're a YouTube creator, one thing you could do is use the VidIQ title generator.
It's not your golden ticket.
The title of this video was so good, you made this happen. And it's all thanks to a new button that does this. Ooh, I like that.
To do no work at all.
So you'll never have to worry about finding the right video topics to interest your viewers ever again.
It's a great tool. You know, there's always an opportunity to be more creative with it, but also, you know, have a really good starting point.
But that's not all, as this checklist has a title generator of its own, one which will automatically generate a title below the one you're making without asking you, and will give you its presumed score, urging you to pick those instead of whatever you're writing, which is actually what got me upset enough to rant about it in my community tab, as not only are the checklist titles worse, but they're often borderline unreadable and are practically gibberish at times. I made a video essay on a visual novel titled Why I Hate Winds of Change Lovingly, a video essay. And given it flopped, I'm willing to admit the title wasn't perfect. VidIQ, though, gave it a 79 out of 100, only 1 point away from being green. More importantly were its ideas of what it should be titled, ideas which the AI itself admitted were worse than what I wrote. Winds of Change versus Perfect Change? Which is better for you? The surprising truth about Winds of Change nobody tells you. 24 hours to master Winds of Change with loving care. Winds of Change face off lovingly versus honestly for a better outcome. See what I mean by gibberish? I honestly couldn't tell you what some of these titles meant if I came across them in the wild, but I certainly wouldn't have clicked on them. And of course, none of these titles actually make sense with what my video actually is. Here's another example for my Pochi Science Part 1 video. Pochi Science science expert reveals shocking cake truth. What's hiding in your cake? That one doesn't even mention the video's topic, but ugh. Poachy science breakthrough. The cake consequences. Don't miss out on Poachy science cake secret. And just one last one to bring it home. For my video on what's wrong with mascot horror face-off, current versus classic. Want better mascots? Watch this now. The worst mascot horror trends you can't ignore. Avoid current mascot horror at all costs. With each of these, more often than not, they completely change the meaning of the title, meaning if you genuinely went with one, more often than not, you'd be called a clickbaiter. In this video, for example, I talk about why the obsession with hidden lore can easily overcomplicate things and make it hard to grasp or even find the most basic information, which can scare off a fan base before it can properly form or stunt its growth. Mascot horror face-off, current versus classic, is incorrect because I only compare old and new mascot horror games for like 30 seconds at most, as the bulk of the video is talking about storytelling in horror, not comparing the past with what there is now. Want better mascots? Watch this now. Just seems like the AI got confused as to what I was even talking about. The worst mascot horror trends you can't ignore is the closest to being accurate, but sounds like something a content farm would title their video, which can scare some people away from even watching it to begin with. And avoid current mascot horror at all costs literally isn't true, because I explicitly explain how it could be improved and directly mention a few games, both mascot and not, that I think did it well. And this is one of the better examples I could analyze, as you can tell from those other two. And given these AI titles auto-generate before your title as you're trying to type it, I worry that a new channel that doesn't know what titles should look like might just blindly follow the AI's advice because they think it knows better, which it isn't, because the title scoring system from the checklist is so bad that having a hyphen is fine, but having a dash is not. Which just doesn't make any sense when you consider that these are trying to be course corrected into what will catch people's eyes and make them click. And the difference between a dash and a hyphen isn't going to magically make the video less appealing to a person's eyes. Most people, I feel like, aren't even gonna notice the difference. Anyways, I think I've shown you enough of how bad it calculates titles, but let's go into another one of its AI features that it's pushed as of recent. The generate feature. This is where we go from just helping with minor stuff to let me do the whole process for you territory. This function will AI generate you your keywords, thumbnail, description, and even the script in its entirety. So for this test, I want to put in two of my more popular videos to see what it makes of them. To start us off, I want to test this using my video Top 8 Worst Twists in Indie Horror. So I told it to create the Top 8 Worst Twists in Indie Horror games, pull specific games to talk about, and give reasons as to why they aren't good twists. Here's what it generated. Title: Worst Indie Horror Game Twist That Fell Flat. Description: Get ready for a thrilling ride into the world of indie horror games. In this video, we're diving into the most disappointing twist that failed to deliver. From predictable plot reveals to underwhelming endings, we'll be counting down the worst indie horror game twist that fell flat. Whether you're a seasoned gamer or just a fan of the horror genre, you won't want to miss this spooky analysis, so grab a flashlight, dim the lights, and let's dive into the most underwhelming indie horror game twist of all time. Oh, and just to point out in advance, I'm pretty sure it's taking from the kind of descriptions I usually write and then trying to make it sound similar to that. I just want to point that out in advance, seeing as I tend to write my descriptions in a similar format of like, in this video we're blank from blank to blank, we'll be doing this thing, just so nobody notices that as like, wait a minute, you're still using it or something like that. I just want to point that out in advance. Thumbnails. An old Soviet man with red eyes, binary on top, and the text, "Can't unsay it." Yes, this was its first suggestion.
And spelt correctly.
An AI-looking pixel game with the text "Can't sleep," not even centered, and with everything like really small for a thumbnail, which is just too much unused room here, so it's not a very good thumbnail. And lastly, a scared girl being chased by a ghost with a ghost penis. Just to generally point out what's wrong with these thumbnails outside of its AI, just so you folks at home can see what's wrong. In this first one, the main problem is that there's no tie to indie horror, as this man isn't a recognizable character, and nor is this dude or this girl or this ghost penis. Even if it was though, the focus is entirely off, and the text just looks sloppy because they don't leave any room for dead space, making the entire thumbnail look and feel too tight, even though there's a bunch of unused room all around it. It also doesn't help that the "can't unsee it" is not only spelled wrong, but also doesn't fit the video. If there was a horror twist that you can't unsee after the game, that would make it a relatively good twist, not a bad one. A good way to fix this one on a base level, assuming we're not allowed to change anything visually, essentially, would be to make this old man's head larger and put it on the left side, and then have the text on the right side, leaving room for the dead space needed to not make it feel cramped, while still using all of the room of the image. The reason this works better is because your eye is led left to right instead of up and down. You see the old man and then immediately read the text afterwards in a way that's far more natural, like reading a book, while also associating the two together, so you know that the can't unsee it is likely in reference to whatever spot this old man appears in. Though the script has no mention of who this guy even is, so it'd be much better to just replace it with a character you actually talk about in the video, or replace it with a generally recognizable indie horror character in general, like FNAF, Bendy, Puppy Playtime, those sort of things, which would then justify it. It would also probably be good to switch these matrixy binary lines from green to some other color, as its brightness compared to the old man make your eyes go to it too soon, taking away from the thumbnail as a whole. A better choice would be some kind of lightly desaturated red tone, because red is associated with spooky horror and can look like a cool background. Now, while I was writing this part of the script, they actually paywalled the script feature too, so I had to use their 7-day free trial for this next part. Don't worry, I didn't give them my real credit card in case they didn't let me cancel or something, but I did have to go to the store and buy a $20 Visa to use for this, so you're welcome for what you're about to experience. Oh, and by the way, it gave me a voiceover too, which sounds like this.
Join me as I dive into the worst indie horror game twists that totally fell flat.
Reminder that people are having to pay real money for this. So just to make it mildly more listenable, I'm just gonna use the Kanito pet voice from a completely different website. So yeah, here is the script that it generated for me.
Join me as I dive into the worst indie horror game twists that totally fell flat, and see if I can find any that actually deliver a scare. A good twist in a horror game can elevate the entire experience, making it even more terrifying and memorable. But when done poorly, it can completely ruin the immersion and leave players feeling unsatisfied.
People know what twists are, Janet.
There are few common pitfalls that can lead to disappointing twists in indie horror games. One of the most common is a lack of proper foreshadowing. When a game tries to surprise us with a twist that comes out of nowhere, it can feel cheap and unearned. It's like finding out the killer was just a random stranger who wasn't even mentioned before. It's not scary, it's just confusing. Another issue is the overuse of tired tropes. We've all seen the surprise twist where the main character is the bad guy, or the enemy that's been terrorizing them is just a hallucination. These twists have been done to death, and when an indie game relies on them, it can feel like a lack of creativity. Sometimes indie horror games try to subvert our expectations by going for a twist that's completely unprecedented. While I appreciate the effort of the original, this can often backfire. If the twist feels like it comes out of left field, it can be hard to accept and can pull us out of the experience. Finally, some indie horror games fall victim to poor pacing. A twist that's rushed or doesn't have enough build-up can fall flat, leaving us feeling unmoved.
This section just isn't that good, as it just lists off a bunch of common reasons for bad twists, rather than giving any actual examples like the title suggests, leading it to feel like it's just dragging on. We don't need to know a list of potential bad twists when you're going to be explaining them with actual games you're referencing later, right? You're going to explain better later, right?
The Forest of Drizzling Rain is a great example of a game with a twist that fell flat. The game's big reveal is that the main character is actually a ghost, but it's handled so clumsily that it's more confusing than scary. The game tries to justify the twist by sprinkling in some vague clues throughout the game, but they're so subtle that they're easy to miss. As a result, the twist feels unearned and unsatisfying.
Surprisingly, this is a real game, but the twist they're criticizing doesn't exist, so they're hating on a game for a story detail that it made up.
Another example is The Last Door, which tries to surprise us with a twist that the main character's friend is actually a demon in disguise. The problem is that there's no real build-up or foreshadowing to this twist, it just comes out of nowhere. The result is a twist that feels cheap and unscary.
The Last Door is another real game, but no, the player's friend is not a demon in disguise. Another made-up twist.
Deadly Premonition is a game that's known for its bizarre twists and turns, but one twist in particular stands out as a misfire. The game tries to surprise us by revealing that the main character's arm is actually a demonic entity, but it's handled so poorly that it's more laughable than terrifying. The twist is telegraphed from a mile away, and the game's attempts to make it seem eerie and unsettling just come across as silly. The worst part is that the twist completely derails the rest of the game's narrative, making it feel like a jumbled mess. It's a shame, because Deadly Premonition has a lot of interesting ideas and atmospheric moments, but this twist really brings it down.
Again, game is real, but I can't find anything about this twist. A part of me thinks the AI might have gotten confused here and meant the notorious twist in Bionic Commando that everyone used to make fun of, where it turns out that your robo arm is actually your dead dead wife, but I have no clue where they got demon from if so. Definitely doesn't help that none of these twists actually say anything and they just say, here's the twist, it sucks because vid criticism, next topic, and doesn't make any attempt to say what could be fixed, nor give any specific examples or context as to what makes the twist bad in the game itself and why.
One particularly notorious example of a failed twist is the ending of the game All Delivered. The game builds up to a massive twist that's supposed to be a huge surprise, but it's so poorly handled that it's become infamous among gamers. The twist is that the entire game is just a simulation created by the main character's boss, and that the player's progression is just a demonstration of the character's skills. The problem is that the twist is not earned at all, there's no real build-up or foreshadowing, and it just feels like a cheap trick to try to be clever.
This is the only game I can confidently say doesn't exist. I just couldn't find it anywhere.
The immediate reaction from the gaming community was outrage, with many players feeling betrayed and unsatisfied. The game's developers tried to justify the twist by saying that it was meant to be a commentary on the nature of video games, but it just comes across as a cop-out. In the end, it's clear that a well-executed twist is crucial to a good horror game. When done poorly, it can ruin the experience and leave players feeling unsatisfied. Indeed, horror games need to be more mindful of their twist's impact and make sure they're handling them in a way that feels earned and scary. Thanks for watching, and be sure to share your experiences with disappointing game twists in the comments below. If you want to see more game analysis videos, be sure to check out my other content.
Well then, not only did it produce a video that was inaccurate several times, but it also struggled with pacing in several parts, and would rarely give context or offer more than one reason before just moving on. It just isn't reliable, and given that's now behind that $200 annual paywall, I sincerely hope people aren't actually using it. But let's be reasonable here, right? Maybe the AI just struggles with opinion-based videos. How about we give it my Sprunki video instead, so it can pull from direct sources on the internet? Although I was the first person to make a video on it, there are several videos out right now, including Reddit posts and other articles, that the AI can scrape from to make an accurate video, right? So I asked it, generate a video about Sprunki and what caused the game to cancel all future updates. The developer was a 15-year-old Scratch dev, and you should specify the exact reasons why you decided to stop making Sprunki. So let's see what it gives us.
Join me as I dive deep to uncover the mystery of what really happened to Sprunki. Sprunki, a brand that's been synonymous with the Grand Theft Auto series for years, has left many fans wondering what exactly happened to this beloved soda company.
What?
With its quirky branding and humorous advertisements, Sprunki became an integral part of the GTA universe, adding to the game's satire and social commentary.
VidIQ, I specified that Sprunki was a game! Like a separate game! I even mentioned that to a younger developer who created it, so you didn't get confused. That's not even what the GTA soda company is called! It's called Sprunk, not Sprunki! How did it get so confused?
But as the series progressed, Sprunki seemingly vanished into thin air, leaving behind a trail of unanswered questions and speculation. One popular theory is that Sprunki was quietly phased out due to declining popularity, making way for new brands and products to take center stage.
In GTA? You're suggesting world-building bankruptcy? Why would so many people care about a random soda company Easter egg in GTA that's supposed to be spoofing on Sprite? What?
Despite the many theories, one thing is certain, Sprunki's disappearance has left a void in the GTA universe, and fans are still clamoring for answers. The lack of any official statement from Rockstar Games has only added fuel to the fire, leaving fans to weave their own narratives and speculate about Sprunki's fate.
For the record, the soda company is still in GTA. I'm not even sure what's talking about here. I was very clear about it being a game called Sprunki. Okay. Let's just give it another chance by adding the phrase horror game and then give it another shot. Title: What happened to Sprunki, the horror game that was suddenly abandoned? Thumbnail: It still thinks it's a soda company. I have no idea where this one was going. Can't stop spraying! AI, are you okay? Alright. Because I'm noticing a theme here, and I just wanted to say, like, we're here for you, man. If you ever need somebody to talk to, other than, like, the engineers that program you and stuff, I'm here for you, man. We're here for you.
Join me as I dive deep into the mystery of Sprunki, the horror game that vanished without a trace, and try to uncover what really happened to it. In this video, we'll explore the intriguing story behind Sprunki, a horror game that had everyone talking but then mysteriously vanished from the scene. Sprunki's story is a fascinating one, filled with twists and turns that left fans confused and concerned. As we delve into its history, we'll examine the events that led to its sudden abandonment, exploring the challenges the developers faced and the community's expectations.
You said absolutely absolutely nothing. Congratulations, Car, 50% of the audience has gotten bored and clicked off.
One major challenge the developers encountered was the sheer scope of the project. With ambitious gameplay mechanics and a complex narrative, the team faced an uphill battle in terms of resource management and time allocation. This, coupled with the pressure of meeting fan expectations, created a perfect storm of stress and uncertainty.
Okay, yeah, this is 100% bullshit. None of this is real. There was only one developer, there is no complex narrative, and there is no gameplay. It's literally just beep bop boop bop.
As the project progressed, the developers began to struggle with the game's core identity. With so many features and mechanics to incorporate, the game's overall vision started to blur, leading to internal conflicts and creative disagreements. It's no secret that a unified vision is crucial for a game's success, and Sprunki's lack of direction ultimately became its Achilles heel.
With so many features and mechanics to incorporate, with so many features and—
As Sprunki's development progressed, fans were treated to a steady stream of updates, showcasing the game's impressive graphics and haunting gameplay mechanics. It was clear that the developers were pouring their hearts and souls into the project, and fans responded by sharing their theories and speculation about the game's story and characters. But Sprunki's most notable feature was its innovative sanity system, which allowed players to experience the game's world through the eyes of the protagonist. This mechanic added a layer of psychological complexity to the game, making it feel more immersive and realistic. However, it was this very feature that marked the beginning of the end for Sprunki. The developers' decision to revamp the sanity system was met with widespread criticism from fans who felt that the changes compromised the game's core identity. This backlash marked a turning point for Sprunki as the developers struggled to regain the trust of their audience. In a shocking move, the developers announced that they would be putting the game on indefinite hold, citing creative differences and a lack of resources. This news left fans stunned and disappointed, wondering what had happened to the game they once loved. To wrap up, Sprunki's story serves as a cautionary tale about the challenges of game development. Despite its promise and potential, the game ultimately fell victim to its own ambition, highlighting the importance of clear vision and direction in game development. Don't forget to share your thoughts on Sprunki in the comments and check out my other videos for more gaming insights.
Well then, that didn't go so well. Reminder, these prompts are based on actual videos of mine that were pretty successful when I did them myself. Videos in which I created my own descriptions, thumbnails, and strips for, and did extremely well. I feel like it isn't too hard to say that if I had used these instead, my video would have flopped. And if it hadn't, I would have had many angry people due to the amount of inaccuracies and downright sloppish writing. The writing style feels far less like a creator and more like a content farm or some corporate entity like Watch Mojo or something. As the humor is flat, the tone is all over the place, it just generally doesn't feel like it has any real identity. It's a video that you'd forget about the moment you finished watching and would never want to seek out to watch more of their content. It's generating filler and nothing more. By the way, another thing the generate feature has is if you click in the corner next to your prompt, you can toggle likeness, which lets you put an image of your face for the AI to try and put in their thumbnails. I really don't want them to have my face, and art like that of my PNGs doesn't work with this, so I decided to snag an image of Moist Critical to use here. I had to give it another prompt, and IRL prompts didn't seem to work with this, so I gave it the prompt, I booked 100 flights on the same airplane. Here's what happened. And here's what it created. For all the images, it completely removed his luscious locks. Here it appears he also lost a finger on this hand, and I can't really tell what specifically about the face feels off here, but it just feels wrong. Oh, I found where the lost finger went though. It's apparently on his other hand down here. He probably shouldn't fly here though, as it appears one of the wheels have fallen off. The last image doesn't use critical at all, as it just creates a random dude and then just covers his face with text, which isn't very appealing to look at. Though all three of these just generally appear super uninteresting, which is the opposite of what they sell you on, given that VidIQ themselves claim the feature to be able to generate professional quality thumbnails that can help you grab attention and drive clicks. I have shown you 8 thumbnails so far that this thing has created, and I want you to tell me if any of these were something that would interest you enough to click on it. Thumbnails are one of the defining things that lead to someone choosing to watch your video, with the title being second. You only have like 3 seconds to get someone's attention. I'd almost call VidIQ's push to do the thumbnail creating themselves dangerous for new content creators, as rather than teaching you the tools of how to make them yourself and then giving you the option to generate thumbnails after you know what to avoid or when the tool makes one of its many mistakes. It instead encourages you to let it do the thinking for you and then just making minor detail or prompt changes after the fact. And I'm especially disturbed by the fact that the VidIQ article talking about this generative AI feature says, this new feature saves you time and effort, allowing you to focus on what you love most, creating content. When, what do you focus on when you use the generative feature? You're not creating content because the AI's doing that too. So what's the point? What are you thereby able to go focus on? It's not the keywords, it does that too. It's not the title, it does that too. Not the thumbnail, not the ideas, nothing. But let's say you don't want to use those AI writing tools at all, and just want to look at things like the daily ideas or the optimize tool to brainstorm ideas and make minor adjustments on your own. Well, let's talk about those too. Daily Ideas is supposed to look at your channel as well as your saved keywords you use to guide them and give you video ideas, starting with a basic title that can work for your content. You get 3 every day for free unless you get their $200 annual boost upgrade. Now, I actually had to completely rewrite this section because things went from alleged to the closest we can get to it be confirmed without a whistleblower. As I'm very sure with the information we have right now that the AI is scraping the hell out of YouTube without the permission of the creators and giving those exact titles to users of VidIQ to unknowingly plagiarize. Basically, when you look through the daily ideas, you'll see one of 3 categories of suggestions in your pile. Videos that are so vague that's barely an idea, ones that just take an idea you've already done and tell you to do it again. In this case, it recommends I make the mystery of the notorious Poppy Playtime cheater, which is absolutely taken from my video titled What Happened to the Notorious Poppy Playtime Cheater. And lastly, we have our problem child. Videos are derived from a pre-existing title with a few synonyms swapped out so you don't know they copied their homework. Now that might sound like a bold claim, but I'd just like you to take a look at a few of these and come to your own conclusion. Daily Ideas recommended Game Theory, reacting to why you hate my theories. Game Theory's videos titled Game Theory, why you hate my theories FNAF. Daily Ideas recommended Controversial Works of Dr. Seuss, a deep dive. The Controversial Works of Dr. Seuss, What's Been Banned, and Unpacking Dr. Seuss's Controversial Works, The Dark Side. The creators, a channel with only 15,000 subs, made a video titled The Dark Art of Dr. Seuss, Every Banned Work. Daily Ideas recommended The Burger Pants Mystery, predicting Deltarune's next moves, unraveling the Burger Pants conspiracy and Deltarune's future, and The Burger Pants Conspiracy, What Future Awaits Deltarune. Boy G, a creator with only 10,000 subscribers, made a video titled The Burger Pants Conspiracy, predicting Deltarune's future. And strangely enough, VidIQ also just so happened to fully capitalize Deltarune just like the creator. Daily Ideas recommended all 5 of these ideas about how gacha games instill gambling, and wouldn't you know it, a creator known as YakoCMN has just posted a video on the exact same topic 2 weeks ago that just so happened to pop off. Exploring Duolingo's crazy tongue stealer controversy, Duolingo's unexpected controversy, the tongue stealer incident. That's weird. I never heard of any incidents like that. I wonder if it has anything to do with this Meat Canyon video titled The Tongue Stealer that is about Duolingo. This was all from 1 day of daily ideas when using Boost. And I shot an email to several of these creators asking if they use VidIQ, to which I got confirmation that no, they did not. Here's my email from Boy G, the person who made that Burger Pants video, which by the way, go check them out because they've only made 3 videos and they're already getting their hard work stolen by AI companies like this one. So this can't be swept away as a hidden under TOS thing. There are genuine people out there who had no idea VidIQ exists and are being plagiarized on the daily. Name any creator you like or watch, big or small, on YouTube for years or only a few months, aware VidIQ exists or not.
VidIQ is really good. Whatever will be most dramatic, I don't know. VidIQ. I don't know what they do.
And they could be being exploited right now without any of them knowing. And plus, not only do you have to worry that the ideas it's giving you straight up don't exist or might not work at all for your target audience, but if you do somehow find a good idea, you might be stealing from another creator creator without knowing and without the system telling you. And on the off chance that the creator the AI steals from is smaller than you, or the idea gets popular from your video, people are going to hate on you for quote-unquote stealing the idea. Or if you're the smaller one, it'll just seem like you're being a copycat or plagiarizing the big guys, which isn't good either. The optimized tool is one of the things that also infuriated me enough to make this video, as on top of being a feature that let you get minimal use out of it each month before paywalling you, now it will randomly pick some of your semi-recent videos and analyze them, outright refusing to optimize the newest videos that could actually use the help, especially if they're pre-posting. The worse than that, it generally is the most confused out of all the AIs, making recommendations that generally aren't that good. Those of you who saw my community post may recognize this screenshot where VidIQ thought my video essay about the Winds of Change, a visual novel game, was actually about a CIA plot. Now, where I can understand the AI's confusion here is where it mixed up the game Winds of Change with the popular song by the same name. However, the AI seems to get into conspiracy territory, as it seems dead set that the song was a ploy by the CIA for some reason. Just to try and be reasonable here, I will give it one of my successful videos again to compare it like my other tests. Seeing as I needed to use the 7-day boost trial for the generate feature anyways, I decided to use it for this too. I decided to take my video on TheftKing, which had many people outright go out of their way to compliment it for its comedic title and thumbnail. So let's see what it thinks about it. The title was rated an orange 71 out of 100, and the thumbnail was rated a rather terrible 64 out of 100. The titles it suggested I do instead are The Poppy Playtime Conspiracy, The Playtime Code Conspiracy, and The Real Poppy Playtime Conspiracy, which of course takes sandpaper to the whole point of the video and make it so generic you can't tell what the video is supposed to be about anymore, as most people would probably assume it's a video about the lore. Not to mention that my title was specifically referencing TheftKings, the person whom I am talking about. In the feedback section, the AI tells me several things that are apparently wrong with my title that I should fix to appeal to a wider audience. Brevity. The title captures attention with a bold claim, but its length distracts from immediate impact. Ah yes, because people cannot read more than 4 words without having subway surfers on the side apparently. For context, the title in question is, No, TheftKing, the Russians didn't steal Poppy Playtime, which I honestly have no clue how you could shorten without removing its meaning. Remove No TheftKing and it just sounds like a random wild claim that nobody's stating. Remove the Russians and it removes an extremely weird yet key argument he's claiming. Remove Poppy Playtime and now you have no idea what I'm talking about. I decided to go to the coach to ask it what it thought. What it thought was that I should remove the from the Russians or change the title to No TheftKing, the truth about Poppy Playtime theft, which can't work because that changes it to imply that I thought Poppy Playtime was stolen in some way, rather than me debunking TheftKing's claim of it. Anyways, back to the feedback. Next one is use of common formats, which basically just says it's not formatted like the average title, and that I should change it to appear more like a question, which isn't the whole point of this that I stand out so people want to click on the video? Emotional triggers. The title captures attention with its direct address and controversy, appealing to curiosity about a trending topic. However, it could evoke stronger emotions by incorporating more vivid language or a sense of urgency to compel viewers to click for resolution. It's a response video where I talk about how insane his claims are, in which I use the insanity of his claim in the title. I'm not sure what could be done here past overdoing it by being like, the insane, wacky shenanigans of TheftKing's shocking Poppy Playtime conspiracy. Also, didn't you just say my title was too long? Wouldn't adding fluffy language make it longer? And looking at your recommended titles, how on earth is The Poppy Playtime Conspiracy a more emotionally triggering title in any way? Universal or personal appeal. The title sparks curiosity but lacks a relatable emotional hook that could resonate with a wider audience. By tapping into feelings of nostalgia or community around gaming, it could draw in more viewers who share those sentiments. That would be clickbait, because I don't talk about the gaming community, and I don't talk about gaming nostalgia or the good old times of horror. I just talk about why I think TheftKing's theory that a content farm somehow got access to Poppy Playtime Chapter 3 early is completely wrong. Over on the thumbnail tab, here's the thumbnail I used. We have TheftKing's avatar in a muzzle because he's a dog or fox or whatever. I have my avatar in a Phoenix Wright suit because the video is Phoenix Wright themed, Above it is the text complete clickbait because I accused the video of being clickbait multiple times in the video, and we have a golden border around it because that's what I used to do with my thumbnails to make them stand out. The feedback has some sections with tweaks I should make and some sections with criticism. Under the section with minor improvements, topic match. The cartoon dog in a suit adds a humorous touch but distracts from the serious topic implied in the title. Incorporating elements that directly reference the content would create a stronger connection and enhance viewer expectation. Again, it's my character, the PNG that you'll be seeing the entire time. I'm pretty sure the only reason it's saying this is because the AI is overtrained on just IRL videos that show a very obviously real person, rather than PNG tubers or VTubers, which in itself isn't a good flaw to have with how broadly they seem to want it used. Visual harmony. The cartoon dog in a suit adds a playful touch, but the serious expression of the other dog creates a dissonance that would be better harmonized for clarity. This confuses me, as if you scroll up a little, there's a section that gives you a summary of all the criticisms before you view them, that explicitly says, your thumbnail has a solid foundation with great clarity and composition. So I have good clarity, but I need to improve my clarity because characters showing two different emotions is just too confusing for the average viewer. Eye-catching elements. The thumbnail's cartoon dog adds a playful element, but lacks vibrant colors and dynamic graphics that could enhance visibility and engagement. Incorporating bright colors, arrows or circles would better capture attention and encourage clicks. Yeah, you're right. My bad, VidIQ. Let me just fix that. Let's just push that slider all the way. There we go. Add a few of these, some of this. There we go. Much better. Unique concept. The thumbnail captures attention with its cartoonish charm, but risks blending into the sea of generic visuals due to its stock-like quality. To stand out, it could benefit from a more distinctive art style or a unique color palette that reflects the video's tone. I don't even know how to respond to this one, given I've never seen stock art that looks like this. Do you by chance get your stock art from Fur Affinity? Creative execution. The thumbnail's use of a cartoon dog in a suit is a clever visual hook, but lacks a more dynamic composition that would better capture attention. Incorporating bolder colors or a more engaging background could enhance its creativity and overall impact. I'm sorry, but above you praised me both for my clarity and composition in this thumbnail, and yet both are apparently flawed? Why even praise me on them in the first place? That just makes it feel backhanded. Anyways, onto what I did wrong with this thumbnail. Emotional triggers. The cartoon dog in a suit adds a humorous touch, but the serious expression of the white dog creates a dissonance that may confuse viewers rather than draw them in. Instead, a more cohesive emotional theme, perhaps showcasing the dogs in contrasting yet relatable situations, could heighten security and compel clicks. Again, two characters with different emotions, just too confusing for those dumb, stupid plebeians watching your content. Instead, try to paint an image of the two dogs working together and relating to one another, and hugging and holding hands, reuniting like fellow what was the video about again? Right, yeah, respond to theft. Color and contrast. The thumbnail would benefit from using bolder contrasting colors to enhance visual impact and draw viewers' attention. A more vibrant palette could make the characters and text stand out, increasing the likelihood of clicks. Oh, yeah, don't worry, we already fixed that, remember? Curiosity elicitation. The juxtaposition of a cartoon dog in a suit and a serious white dog lacks a clear connection to the topic, which may confuse viewers rather than intrigue them. Do you think maybe I should show an image of the person I'm talking about, perhaps? And maybe an image of them being, angry or distressed. Perhaps with an image of me giving evidence? You think that might fix the problem, maybe? Simplifying the visuals and using more evocative text could enhance curiosity and draw in a broader audience. The amount of times the AI seems to blatantly be like, your viewers are dumb, simplify it, really speaks on how it must see the viewers it's being forced to make content for. So I think I've more than shown how bad VidIQ is as a helping tool for creators, especially with its AI, of whom seems to be the first AI to experience the Dunning-Kruger effect. But that isn't the end of things, because they have a YouTube channel. A YouTube channel with a real person. That's great! In fact, when you look up things like how to become a content creator or new YouTuber tricks and tips, they're one of the first people to always show up. In fact, I used to watch quite a lot of their videos when I was first starting starting out, and was the whole reason I got VidIQ. They do their content in a way that doesn't feel like it's an ad, and feels like it's genuinely wanting to help you out, but it's far more nefarious than you think. As although it tries to trick you into thinking it's just giving out free advice, it's done in a very specific way that's more akin to grifter strategies than any real desire to help you. Or at least that's what it feels like to me after all the research I have done. The worst of these though, and the one that directly led to me no longer watching the channel, was the video "Big Mistakes Small YouTubers Always Make." Now most of this video is the average stuff VidIQ posts. Quality is better than quantity, don't post at like 3 AM when nobody's online, but then we get to the 4-minute mark.
Video descriptions. You probably spend quite a bit of time on them, don't you? Well, here's a reality check. When you're watching a video, you'll barely see any of the video description unless you decide to tap on it. And who's doing that these days? Even on a YouTube search page, you'll see maybe 100 characters max, although the timestamps are there, so they're probably worth doing. And if you think video descriptions are some huge opportunity for some SEO optimization, then I'm afraid you're sadly mistaken. Having said that, if you are absolutely adamant about writing out a video description, then we do have a one-click solution for you. When you are uploading or editing a video, simply use the VidIQ AI description generator to create a 50 to 100 word introduction to your video. It'll give you 3 options, which, if you really wanted to, you could actually use as the start of a video script. Once you're happy with the text, with a single click, it will insert the description into your video. Another job, quickly and efficiently done.
Rather than giving them the tools as to how to write their own descriptions, they just say, don't bother, nobody cares, use our product instead. So how about we do that for a moment, Let's use my video about Hosalt's cats. Here's my description, and here's what the AI did. I won't read them off seeing as we're focusing on the videos now, but I just want to give context of how the AI does when compared to how they're pitching it. But it doesn't matter, right? Nobody ever reads the description, so who cares if it's unreadable, or makes little sense, or is confusing? Well, I actually ran into one of these descriptions in the wild. I won't mention their channel name and title so people can't find it as easily, but a YouTuber made a video on the FNAF ransomware trend, which was super popular in the FNAF community for a good while. Going into the description, however, you can very easily tell it's using the VidIQ AI description generator. As similar to what we've already seen, it got confused about the topic, thinking that the video was about a real virus that the YouTuber was helping people protect themselves from. Now, according to Rob, or whoever writes the scripts, nobody should be reading this, right? I mean, surely I'm just a random weirdo who happens to read them and nobody else noticed, right? As it turns out, people did notice. In fact, several people commented on the video about it. More than several. Creating a lot of backlash to the, at the time, small YouTuber, of whom I wouldn't be surprised if they decided to go with doing that because of claims like the ones made in this video, as well as others, as VidIQ tends to repeat the same piece of advice over several videos. Now, just to clarify, I'm not saying that you're not allowed to advertise your product. That'd be very dumb of me to say. What I am saying is that you can't make up a claim so you can sell them the cure. And it doesn't help that once they're able to get you to wade into the waters of AI, they can ease you into using its other aspects until there is no you in your YouTube channel. Basically, they sell VidIQ to you akin to how grifters sell you that course that's totally gonna teach you how to make 300K a month by drop shipping essential oils. Take this more recent video, for example, which has a lot of parallels to those shady strategies in my opinion. Again, no hate to Rob here, they seem nice, but they were hired as the channel's face for a reason. As for the video itself, it opens up with a massive emotional push of, I know exactly how you feel, I was in your shoes once, a 9-to-5 hating my boss, struggling financially, but if you follow my advice and throw a few bucks our way, if you notice that the website has a paywall, you can make it too! We'll all make it together. The video is also filled with very generic advice that most reasonable people wouldn't disagree with. Many YouTubers took a long time to get where they are. If you want to make good content, make videos you like. Never give up, don't let your dreams be dreams, but they don't give much personal advice despite how much of the video talks about how he was once there too. He doesn't give any real strategies of like, here's how you make titles, here's how you make thumbnails, here's how you plan for content you're gonna make. Or even if you want to solely go down the route of we're all gonna get there someday, there isn't even a here's how you get yourself out of burnout. Here's how you commit to making content even if you have a different job. There's none of that. Like at one point in the video, he talks about imposter syndrome, but he doesn't give you any tools to beat it, or at the very least alleviate any of it. He just says, I had imposter syndrome. The grind doesn't stop, baby. Like, You could give genuine advice here, but you choose not to. It feels like the only advice you're willing to give anybody is the generic stuff, unless you are telling them, go get vidIQ so you don't have to work at all on your content or learn anything or make anything like passionate and don't have to worry about these massive keystones of content creation. It's all generic. Another very griftery tactic is a strong negative sentiment to those that are outsiders, quitters, and other such things. There's a strong us versus them feel lingering at the back of the video that once you notice is really easy to pick up on. They're just quitters. They're making excuses. Just hustle it out. Don't you know how lucky you are to have all these tools nowadays? By the way, those things I just said are things he says in the video, and wouldn't you know it, when he mentions how lucky you all are to have these tools nowadays, he immediately brings up the fact that vidIQ wasn't around back in the day. A very subtle push for the audience to use it. Another thing I wanted to add after I wrote all this, there's another video where he brings on a title expert who tries to give actual tips for once, but then after he gives a piece of advice, Rob converts it into a very rigid fill-in-the-blank title template and then has the gall to say, if those very specific fill-in-the-blank title formats are too difficult for you to use, just use a vidIQ.
If you are finding these on-screen title formulas a little difficult to use, then fortunately vidIQ does have a tool that'll do it for you. When you're uploading a video to YouTube, all you need to do is type in a couple of relevant keywords into the title and then click generate title, and vidIQ will come up with something that's really curious, intriguing, aims for big goals, you name it, pick your favorite one. Job done.
Which just feels very rude and undermines the whole point of having them on in the first place. I mean, you're letting them do all the hard work of explaining stuff, but then you're like, okay, here, fill in the blank, and then if those are too, like, specific for you, use my thing instead. It feels like it kind of distracts from, like, the actual tips the guy's giving. Another problem the entire channel faces on top of that is that the majority of titles are very threatening and induce FOMO. This video I just referenced is titled Small YouTubers, do this or the algorithm will ignore you. And you see this everywhere on vidIQ's channel. The only way to escape small creator hell. YouTube launches new AI rules for all creators with the thumbnail reading shadow banned, but if you actually watch the video, they bring it up once and then are like, nah, you're fine, you're not gonna get shadow banned. Back to the other video I was talking about though, the you versus us thing can also be seen right at the start as Rob opens up talking straight to the audience as if they're right there live in front of him. Here we are, to be honest with you, I just want you to know, which gives a very direct communication as if he's talking to you specifically, making you psychologically feel special. Similar to those videos that tell you only a select few people are seeing this ad and you should buy our course before you miss out. Despite the humble tone the video tries to have, the script is filled with subtle flexes throughout it. He opens his video talking about how they're almost at 2 million subscribers. One of the gags of the video is that each segment he records is in a different recording area, all of which has fancy lighting and is decked out to the brim with expensive props and equipment. A lot of said props appear to be custom made as their vidIQ themed wall mounts and other such things. And around the 12-minute mark, he talks about how expensive his microphone is. He shows a clip several times where he shows an analytics page in which he earned nearly $400,000. Another thing while editing this video, they just so happen to do Creator Week, where they'll take a look at a few hand-selected channels live to try and get people to buy their boost package, as well as basically show off their one-on-one coaching. I wasn't going to talk about this originally, but I decided to watch them in an attempt to get them to pick me so I could test their advice compared to the AI's advice and see if they contradict each other even more so. Mainly with titles, seeing as I had a lot of data for that, and intros so I could show the actual audience retention compared to what they think is a good intro and a bad intro. Now I didn't get reviewed, though I was able to get a question in, which was pretty cool, but I mainly want to bring this up to put into perspective the types of people that are using this software. Seeing as AI is a pretty touchy topic right now, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of comments that haven't reached this point of the video, commenting something about these people deserving it somehow, when referring to these people using this tool to try and get ahead. It's really easy to brush them off as just lazy or AI bros or something when that's not really the case. In these Creator Week live streams, a common theme I'd see was that despite the fact they were looking at specific content, they would still give extremely vague advice. The main thing they seemed to do was either flip to the creator's popular videos tab and just say, do that more, or they'd look up a title related to something saturated the person was making a video on, point at that and say do that more, without much in regards to what should be changed or how they could improve. This is despite there being very clear things that if they are the master gurus they claim to be, they should easily be able to point out. For example, this camera channel, who VidIQ just said to do his thumbnails more like his popular videos, without explaining what about them is better, the thing that is different and that they should have been able to recognize is the color values, as here they blend together in a way that's not pleasing to the eye, whereas over here there's a clear light and dark, letting you see everything easily. Which, pro tip, you can check pretty easily in whatever program you use to make your thumbnails. Just take your thumbnail, make a layer of white over the image, and then set that layer to the setting color. This will put your image in grayscale so you can see all the values of your image and what might be accidentally blending together. And amongst all of these people, you can see very clearly that several of them are using VidIQ for their titles and thumbnails. And of course, the people talking would always stop short of criticizing those aspects, despite those same criticisms applying to both. Here they said these Sonic characters don't make it obvious that's a video on the Sonic game in Roblox, when neither do these images of Sonic marrying Amy. And after all of the research I've done, seeing these just made me so sad, because these people, all of these people are relying on VidIQ and placing their trust in these quote-unquote masters, all the while the big dogs up here are trying to give as generic of advice as possible. So if you want something more personal or slightly less vague, you'll be more inclined to take that 25% off deal they keep flashing down there. With their main videos, they might be able to give the excuse that they're giving general advice that can apply to everyone, but here they're being given exacts, and they are still gray rocking as much as possible to avoid giving you anything to work with, while still getting the good PR and advertising that come from a live stream like this. Anyways, that link which we were talking about earlier with the us versus them stuff and the subtle flexing can be compared to a lot of faceless content course grifters who try to sell you on roughly the same thing, free money with no work. All you need to do is pay the $200 annual fee and it'll make the content for you. It'll generate everything but the editing, so if you just hire some random Canadian guy off Fiverr, spam those videos out to the void, you'll be rich in no time. So as long as you can trick enough people that you can get it monetized, you can make bank. Don't you want to be free? The difference is that they don't outright say can make you rich quick. They just give you a tool that can do everything for you, talk about how great it is if you do make it, and let you come to that conclusion yourself. And even better, if you're already a desperate creator and their videos lead you into thinking it's the only way to success, you might just start getting it for yourself, using it in the ways I showed you this entire video, and experience it firsthand. And it turns out, with the faceless content thing, I was right on the money, as he's made plenty of faceless content shill videos on this exact channel. So when these kind of videos are the first thing to appear when a new content creator decides they're going to join the rat race and make content, they're not going to be taught good tips and tricks or learn valuable skills as to how to make a thumbnail or write a description. They're gonna be told a bunch of generic "you got this" quotes, and then just be told to use their free AI service to do all the work for you. And of course, when they pull the rug out from under you and then those free features no longer are free anymore, you gotta fork over that cash, because otherwise now suddenly your content's completely different without it. And you don't know how to do all the work, you were never taught. And even if they got it for other features that are still free, they will be pushed and encouraged to use more and more AI until there's no longer a creator, just content. Content and a splurge of humanless creation cast into the void. I feel like the real reason VidIQ does all these things is because they're trying to double dip into two different audiences in hopes of convincing both into giving them ad revenue and giving them a paid subscription. The content farm faceless YouTuber types, and the smaller creator that's insecure enough to think the AI can do a better job than them anyways.
Now, I can only grow this quickly with the help of VidIQ.
These features aren't for creators, they're for content farms, but the YouTube channel is used so newer content creators will find their videos, be told to use VidIQ, and then be pushed into the AI features so they think it's the only way they can get ahead. All the while, the AI bros promote them as a way you can make some free money, and the average person who hasn't seen anything past the YouTube channel just think they're a basic YouTube advice channel for the little guys. In fact, I feel like a wide majority of these YouTube for beginner videos just say really basic information and then try to get you to buy their product rather than give any real advice. So if you want a good video for content creators, I'd recommend watching Doug's Guide for New Content content creators, as that was the one that helped me out a lot when I first started. I know it's nearly 2 hours long, but it's really thorough and helpful and gives genuine unique advice. I also really want to make my own similar guide to this sometime when I reach 100k subscribers, because I feel like I have a lot of really specific advice that I haven't seen talked about online, and want to wait until I have that play button in case I end up learning more things along the way. Either way though, thank you so much for watching this video. Don't use vidIQ, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye everyone!